John and James getting gains. Take no names, make them gains.
What's up, guys?
John and James here getting gains, and welcome to the second episode of the Ergogenic Podcast. I'm John.
And I'm James.
And we're your hosts. If you listened to last week's episode, then you know it was basically just an introduction episode, so you guys could get to know us a little bit, but this week we're going to be talking about protein. And if you stick around to the end of the episode, we're going to give the actual recommendation amounts depending on what type of athlete you are, as well as the protein recommendations throughout the different times of the day, such as pre-workout, post-workout, intra-workout, and total daily recommendations. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about how much protein should you take in, what are the best forms to take in, and when should I take whey protein? Before bed? Before exercise? What about aminos?
So now we're going to take a look at amino acids, as John just mentioned there. So amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Every time you ingest protein, you're getting in amino acids. And on the back of the label of the protein jug that you get, it'll oftentimes list the amino acid content. There's a total of 20 different amino acids that you can get in. 8 essential, 12 non-essential, and 1 conditionally essential, arginine. Sometimes you'll see that thrown in the essential amino acid category there. And you probably heard about the 3 most popular amino acids that people like to take around their workout, pre, during, and post-workout, the BCAAs, or the branched chain amino acids. Now, those are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And personally, I get mine in through a product called Intrabolic by AEN, but there's a whole host of products out there that have that. And now we're going to take a look at the different types of protein. 2 primary big ones you've probably all heard of that probably you got in your kitchen right now are whey and casein. Whey has a much different digestion profile than casein does. Whey is considered a fast digesting protein, while casein a slow digesting protein. And you probably heard, from other articles, magazine ads that you should take whey during the day because it's fast digesting, especially pre and post exercise, whereas casein is best taken before night. And those are generally good ideas to do. We'll get more into the specifics of that. But whey does digest a lot differently than casein. If you look at digestion rates, whey protein has a spike in the amino acid leucine in the bloodstream in about an hour. So you get this big spike in leucine, the most anabolic amino acid, within an hour of whey intake. And then it starts to come back down, reaching baseline again in about 4 hours. If you look at casein's digestion profile in terms of leucine appearance in the blood, you get a much smaller spike an hour in, but it stays elevated for a longer period of time, for about 7 hours, and then it starts to come back all the way back down to baseline there. So you got those 2 big main differences between the 2, whey and casein, fast, slow digesting proteins. And so you might be looking at, okay, well, are there any more differences in that then, Well, if you look at, for example, protein synthesis, protein breakdown, researchers found whey protein stimulated protein synthesis with no effects on protein breakdown, while casein has kind of the opposite effect, inhibiting protein breakdown with no effect on protein synthesis.
So a lot of the research has shown that a 50-50 mix between whey and casein has provided the best results as far as adding lean muscle mass. So what I do, I have a tub of whey and a tub of casein in my kitchen, and I always mix them together in either water or milk. And milk, in case you're wondering, is about a 80-20 split between casein and whey. So if you don't want to go out and buy a tub of casein, what you can do, you can just take your whey protein and mix it with milk, and that will give you some sort of split between whey and casein.
Now let's take a look at soy protein. I get a lot of questions about soy. Now, when you look at soy protein's profile, it's really at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of protein quality, biological value. If you look at the BV value, the biological value of soy compared to whey or egg, for example, it has a BV value of 74, whereas whey and egg are 100 each. So you have that lower biological value associated with it. Also, too, soy does have what are called phytoestrogens, and males typically don't want to get too much of these in. Now, I'm not saying that if you took 1 scoop of soy, you're going to turn to a female or anything like that, but say, for example, all you ate all day, every day for a week was soy, yeah, you might have some issues there. But if you're just getting in minor amounts here and there, no worries. But again, you're getting that lower BV value associated with it. It tends to be used to a greater degree by the gut and liver, providing fewer amino acids to tissues such as muscle. So less is going to the muscle, more is going to the gut and liver for synthesis of those tissues there. So again, if given the choice there between whey concentrate, isolate, casein versus soy, soy is definitely at the bottom there. I'd kind of avoid that one. Now, if you look at the other different types I just mentioned briefly, whey concentrate, isolate, hydrolysate, there's a few differences between them as well. Now, if you came to me and asked, hey, I'm just getting into weightlifting or whatever fitness program you're getting into, and I don't have a ton of money, what should I get? I'd say whey concentrate. Whey concentrate is the cheapest of the aforementioned proteins. Also, too, you're getting a high source of different immunoglobulins, growth factors, and other little things in the whey protein besides the protein that can enhance muscle tissue growth. Now, concentrate has often gotten a bad name as inferior for whatever reason. The only difference between it and isolate, for example, is that it has a higher amount of carbohydrates. So if you're looking to, go to a show, you're about to be dieting for a show, or you don't want to get the carbs in, whey isolate would be your choice then. It's lower in carbohydrates, but it also is more filtered, so it's stripped down of those beneficial growth factors I just mentioned with whey concentrate. So I'd say for 95% of the people out there, whey concentrate is fine. And plus, too, it's relatively low in carbohydrates. You may see anything between 3 to 6 grams of carbohydrate per scoop of whey protein, providing 20 to 25 grams of protein. Now, if you're worried about, that tiny amount of single-digit carbs coming in, yeah, go for the isolate. The only thing, too, price-wise, isolate is a lot more expensive than concentrate. And then we also mentioned hydrolysate protein. Now, whey hydrolysate is a pre-digested protein. Now, when I mentioned before about the amino acids, you have the 20 different amino acids. Hydrolysate protein is pre-digested, so it's broken down into small chains called di- and tripeptides. Now, dipeptide means a 2 amino acid chain, a tripeptide, a 3 amino acid chain. So the only things that can get absorbed by your gut and go into the blood once that digestion occurs of that protein are di-tripeptides and free-form amino acids. Whole proteins don't go in your bloodstream whenever you ingest protein, so it's not like, I drink protein powder, now protein's in blood. If that happened, that'd be very bad. Your body would mount this huge immune system response. That'd be a bad thing happening there. But again, di-tripeptides and free-form aminos get into the blood, and that's why a whey hydrolysate, for example, may be beneficial for you during exercise because it's already pre-digested and your body doesn't have to shunt blood flow to the gut away from the musculature and brain to assist in that digestion. So that's another concept too of, when you're getting that time frame that you choose to take these different proteins in. Whey, a 50-50 mix between whey and casein, majority of the day is perfectly fine. Before bed, especially too, casein may be more beneficial because of that slow digestion we just talked about, releasing those amino acids into the bloodstream. Pre-exercise, people vary dramatically in the tolerance they have for when they can get in, foods, how close they can get that in to their workout. Me, for example, I eat about an hour before my workout. I'll do a scoop of protein and some carbohydrate source. I know some people that can drink, a gallon of milk right before exercise and be fine. So depends on the person, but generally you do want to have a pre-exercise meal so that you're providing amino acids to your body and helping to keep blood glucose levels relatively stable there, and you have that nutrient source coming into the bloodstream during exercise. Now, if you also take a look at the pricing with hydrolysate, it's a little bit more expensive on the higher side there versus concentrate, for example. So isolate, hydrolysate, much more expensive than concentrate. John just mentioned that milk is a 80-20 split between casein and whey. So, if you're mixing your proteins together with milk, you're also getting that bit of casein with it. If you're doing it with just water, you're just getting, obviously, that pure source of protein. And there are a whole different bunch of sources of protein as well, which we're not going to go too much into detail with, but you have eggs, beef, pork, chicken, and those are all great sources to get into. People will ask, what's better, protein from meat or protein from this supplement? I always tell people whole foods are always better than a shake. Whey protein itself is great for convenience, for price, for certain time periods of the day. Obviously, before exercise, I'm not going to eat a 16-ounce steak, but I might do a scoop or two of protein. So you have that convenience factor, digestibility factor, price factor, obviously a lot cheaper per gram serving than steak. But majority of the day, you should be aiming for those whole food sources because you're also getting micronutrients in with those. So when you're eating a chicken breast, when you're eating a steak or a pork chop, tuna, you're getting in fatty acids, omega-3s, iron, B vitamins, and the different micronutrients and minerals that are associated with those whole foods there. And plus, too, it's going to keep you satiated for a longer period of time. You know, a 16-ounce steak will keep you full for a longer period of time than a scoop of protein or two will do. So you also have those different factors interplaying that. And also, too, straight protein powder is going to be lower in calories than that same equivalent amount usually from whole foods. So, you know, if you're getting in 50 grams of protein from a steak, it's going to be a lot more calories coming in versus getting that same amount of protein from whey, because with the steak, obviously, you have the fat on the meat, the saturated fat, how you cooked it, if it's, you know, cooked in butter, or had additional oils put on top of it, olive oil, and so on. So all those things can factor into what choice of protein you make for that day. And next, we're going to look at kind of those absorption rates with each of those we just mentioned here, and John's going to lead us into that.
So adding on to what James was saying about soy protein, you know, he said that basically as long as you get in a little bit of it, you're fine. You just don't want to go overboard with it. Well, whether we know it or not, we're probably getting in a moderate amount of soy on a daily basis anyways, just from the foods you buy at the grocery store. And also a lot of the lower end protein bars use soy in their formula. So essentially I would not be going and trying to add additional soy protein to my diet. All right, so now I'm going to read off some of the different absorption rates for different proteins based on Lyle McDonald's protein book. Raw egg protein absorbs about 1.4 grams per hour, while cooked egg protein absorbs at about 2.9 grams per hour. Milk proteins somewhere around 3.5 grams per hour, while soy protein isolate is 3.9 grams. Casein isolate is 6.1 grams per hour, while whey isolate is between 8 and 10. So you may be asking yourself, if whey protein isolate can only absorb between 8 and 10 grams per hour, then why do I need to be getting in 1 to 2 scoops of protein all the time? Well, to explain the contradiction, the human body can adapt to the amount absorbed in the gut. And one study looked at this. They took a group of individuals that were used to getting a 1,200 calorie diet, and they all of a sudden put them on a 5,300 calorie diet. And what they found was that once they had the higher intake of calories, the calories were digested 3 to 4 times faster. And basically what was happening is that their bodies had adapted to the higher calorie intake, and their body was absorbing more of it.
So how much protein should we take in to maximally stimulate skeletal muscle protein synthesis? One study fed young versus older individuals varying amounts of essential amino acids. Now remember, we said there's 8 of those, and examined the response. 10 grams of EAAs elicited a maximal response, which comes out to about 20 to 25 grams of whole protein. Most whey protein powders per scoop are about 20 to 25 grams. So a scoop of whey about maximally stimulates that maximal response for skeletal muscle tissue. Now, there is some research too that shows that that number is a bit higher, kind of depending on the person as well. So I'd say minimally aim for that 10 gram EAA / 20 to 25 gram of protein, whole protein per meal to get that maximal response. And think about that too. Out of an entire 24-hour period during a day, you only have so many hours to spike protein, let it come back down, spike protein, let it come back down. So when you wake up in the morning, it would be a wasted time slot essentially if you just had carbohydrates, because you want to stimulate that protein synthesis when you get up, let some hours pass, stimulate it again, and so on. And next we're going to look at the RDI, or the recommended daily intake for protein. And the RDI, or some people, kind of mention it with the RDA, how much protein should we get in? My brother's mother is a nurse who said you only need 20 grams of protein a day, and if you get any more than that, it's not going to do anything or it's going to hurt you. Number one, no research has shown that protein will hurt you if you're a normal, healthy person and you get in an excessive amount of intake compared to the RDI. Now, if you have someone who has a pre-existing kidney condition or some other conditions, go with what your doctor says. He says, don't take in a lot of protein, then don't take in a lot of protein. But a normal, healthy individual, you're perfectly fine. The RDI was never meant to cover protein requirements for athletes or active individuals, so keep that in mind. So now that we've gotten past that point of, when I should be getting it in, looking at the different types that are out there, we're going to take a look at how much should you aim for daily, pre-exercise, during, and post-exercise. So that is our quick tip of the day here. So daily protein recommendations, and these recommendations come from the physiologist Lyle McDonald here. So from his research, it's been shown that male strength and power athletes should get in about 1.1 to 1.4 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Female strength and power athletes, about 1.1 to 1.2 grams per pound. Male endurance athletes, 0.7 to 0.9. Female endurance athletes, 0.6 to 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. Now, how about pre-exercise? So right before our workout. So immediately pre-workout, we should aim for, if you're an endurance athlete, 0.15 to 0.25 grams per kilogram of body weight. Strength and power athletes, 0.3 to 0.4 grams per kilogram. And if you're wondering how to get pounds to kilograms, take pounds, your weight in pounds, divide by 2.2, and that'll give you that kilogram amount. Now, during exercise, for endurance athletes, recommendations are 8 to 15 grams of protein per hour. And for strength and power athletes, 12 to 15 grams per hour of whey protein. And now, post-workout, you want to aim for, if you're an endurance athlete, about 0.15 to 0.35 grams per kilogram. Strength and power athlete, 0.3 to 0.5 grams per kilogram. Now, those are the recommendations for pre, during, post, and total daily protein intake amounts. So aim for those numbers, and you'll be getting what the research says you should be getting in per day and around those time frames. And nutrient timing is important, but something more important than that is total daily intake. So a lot of people kind of pay attention to the little stuff before they've mastered the big stuff. So every day, the biggest thing is total calorie intake. If you're trying to gain lean muscle mass and your maintenance calories are 2,500 calories a day, for example, and you're eating 2,200 a day, no matter what you do, you can take in that as, a huge amount of protein with that 2,200 amount calories per day. You're not going to, be putting on slabs of muscle. You need a caloric surplus to gain muscle, and with that, those numbers we just mentioned there. Another thing that really, really matters too is getting in, those micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, so having a well-rounded diet as well. Secondly comes nutrient timing to that stuff. So when you're getting in those nutrients. But the biggest thing is the total amounts, which a lot of people fall short on, and they fall short on that and they focus on the little stuff. So master the big stuff first. And also too, with whey protein intake or just protein intake in general, make sure you're staying hydrated. Your body requires a lot of water in the digestion process of that protein, so make sure you're staying hydrated throughout the day, getting in plenty of H2O. So now John is going to lead us into our shout out of the day.
All right, so the shout out of the day goes to Pat Flynn. For those of you guys who do not know who Pat Flynn is, he is the creator of the Smart Passive Income blog and also has the Smart Passive Income podcast. Basically, Pat's story, he got laid off from his job a couple years ago, and he built a blog and some online businesses, and now he makes between $50,000 and $60,000 every month passively. And I'm going to say that again. He makes $50,000 to $60,000 a month passively, all from stuff that he's done in the past. So now he basically just has his blog to share his advice and success with everyone else, just to give back, and he's probably the nicest guy in the online business world. He has a whole series of videos on how to make podcasts, and we could not have set up this podcast that you're listening to now without those videos. So Pat, if you're listening, thanks, and we could not have done it without you. And if you want to know how to make $50,000 to $60,000 a month, go check out his blog at smartpassiveincome.com. All right, so that wraps up this second episode of the Ergogenic Podcast. I know there's a lot of information, but if you need to, go back, listen to it again, take notes, write down some values that James mentioned. And as always, we'd like to thank Mike Knowledge. And if you have any questions about anything we said in the episode, feel free to email us, john@ergogenicpodcast.com or james@ergogenicpodcast.com, or post a thread on the forum. And as always, help us spread the word, like our Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and also check out the Ergogenic Podcast on iTunes. We are on the iTunes store now, so leave us a comment and leave us a review, preferably 5 stars. Again, we'd like to thank Mike Knowledge for creating that awesome intro and outro song. So if you want to contact him at mikeknowledge@gmail.com. That's mic.knowledge@gmail.com. And we'll see you next week.
get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no gain. You don't fucked up now, nigga. Diesel in the building when the waves hit the flow. Yeah, feel like I'm chillin'. No days off. What? I ain't never chillin'. Better come correct, man. I'll hit your feelings. No games, no games. Sippin' on that way. No play, no way. Yo, I'm knocking out these weights. I'm trippin'. I just took 3 scoops. I'm lifting. You know what it do. Better watch your step. Boy, I throw these weights. Don't ask me what's my set, cause you gon' wait. Whoa, what's that? Watch that form on whack. I can tell you new, bitch, cause you curl in the squad. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Turn their some weight. Go and throw a plate. I make this look like cake, a bull rushing out the gate. Let them hate as I navigate to captivate, elaborate. I just pump the stakes, never pump my brakes. Best believe I'ma get these games. When everybody gone, I'm the only one remain. Maybe I'm insane, addicted to the pain. Snow, sleet, or rain, skull crushes to the brain. Just warming up, I ain't even break a sweat. I'm killing every rep, destroying every set. You know that's a bet. A fiend for protein, I'm out for more green. So hot, I'm smoking. So hope please, I'm out yo. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Looking like a swole. 100 days straight, and I got 100 more. Even if you try, you can never break my road. First in my kind, I had to break the mold. Feeling bold off these back roads. Don't act like you don't know I'm a pro. This bench be my throne and in my zone getting toned. I get it on my own, truth be told. But the caddy it goes, there he go. Music on blast, kicking ass on my hustle, building muscle. My job is never done, get your weight up. Cause I do this shit for fun. Niggas better run, son. Mike Diesel on the hunt. I'm dedicated, waiting on the day I can finally say I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Boy, I gotta get these games. Gotta get these games. Insane for these games, nigga. No pain, no games. Look house boss, baby. Yo, y'all lifting today? Rest day? What that mean? It's chest day, nigga. You trying to do legs tomorrow? You don't do legs. What? Forget these games, bitch.